Today, I'm going to be taking some of the most recognizable logos in the entire world, and I'm going to be rebuilding them entirely out of Lego bricks. Some of these were actually surprisingly easy to make, while some of them are absolutely a nightmare and ended up turning out absolutely awful. And one of them even made me question why Lego bricks are even square. Anyway, let's get building. So the first logo we're going to be starting off with is Nike. The swoosh. It's probably one of the most recognizable shapes ever created. It is on shoes, it is on shirts, it is on your favorite sport teams, and most importantly of all, Lego has actually even collabed with Nike and even made a few sets as well. And guess what was included in that set? A swoosh. So you know what I did? I just looked up how that swoosh was made, and I followed those instructions and I made it with the best I could. It isn't perfect, but honestly, it's definitely a lot better than what would have happened if I didn't have these instructions, because it would have been looking a lot more blocky rather than curvy. Honestly will give this one like 8 out of 10 studs up, and it's honestly a very, very clean start. But let's see what I can make up on my own. So next up, we have Apple. And when you think of Apple, what do you think of? Minimal, elegant. And when you see the logo, it's also very circular.
I am a circle.
Which is not what you want when you have square Lego bricks. Needless to say, it was very hard to get like the curved, smooth feeling that this logo has, because Lego is a lot of things, but there's one thing it isn't. It is not smooth. I rebuilt like the middle section at least 3 times, because sometimes one side looks right but the other side just looks bad, and especially that like cutout on the right side of the logo, which is where like someone has eaten out of the apple, that gave me nightmares. That was literally in my sleep at times. So yeah, if you squint from like 100 kilometers away and you somehow manage to see it from that far, this is the Apple logo. But to be fair, this logo just gave me so much headache. I will give it a very solid 7 out of 10 studs. So you know, it counts, but I think I am giving myself a little bit too much credit there. Alright, so we are already 2 logos in. And if you have a favorite logo you would want to see me recreate out of Lego, drop it in the comments, because if this video ends up doing well, I'll sure end up doing it. And I'm going to be completely honest, the next logo we're going to be making in this video actually kind of turns out well. I know that's like not what you would think. Alright, so the next logo we're going to be recreating is the iconic McDonald's arches, because McDonald's, in my opinion, is basically made for Lego. McDonald's is the largest kids fast food chain in the world, and Lego is the biggest toy brand in the world. Lego and McDonald's have even collabed a few times. Maybe I'm just old and you guys don't remember, but back in 2014 when the Lego movie came out, McDonald's were giving out some free Lego movie cups in the Happy Meals, and that was just like elite. Those were the days. And honestly, the McDonald's logo has just become so iconic that even in front of most of their restaurants these days, they don't even have to say that it is a McDonald's restaurant. They just have the logo and everyone just understands that it's a McDonald's. Anyway, what makes this logo really stand out is its bold colors. You've got red and yellow, which Lego is also very familiar with. It's also a pretty simple shape, which is exactly what Lego wants to be used for. So this ended up being one of those builds where everything just clicked into place, no pun intended. Instead of the perfect curves, I tried to actually make the blockiness a part of the build, and it actually kind of worked. And honestly, this is clean. The McDonald's logo gets an easy 9 out of 10 studs, because I just don't think it's perfect. I definitely could have improved it, but it's easily the most satisfying build of them all so far. And next up, we have Google. And Google looks simple on the outside, but the spacing of this build is everything. So I'm just going to be making the G for this logo, because I just think if I went and made all of the letters, that would just like break my brain. And honestly, And honestly, this logo ended up turning out pretty nice. I just love the Google logo in general because of all of like its poppy colors. And I think is one of the better builds that I've made so far. It's very small, but it definitely works. So I'll give Google an 8 out of 10. It's not flashy, but it's solid. And finally, we move on to Starbucks. So Starbucks is, if you didn't know, probably the biggest coffee fast food place in the world. I mean, I couldn't even tell you any other coffee fast food places like at all. I don't even know if Starbucks is like a thing in my home country of Australia because, well, for one, I don't really like coffee, and two, I barely leave my house. Anyway, the Starbucks logo is kind of simple. It's a circular logo with like a mermaid or something in the middle of it, which, is going to be a little bit hard to replicate. I mean, circles are already hard in Lego, so as you can see, I did try my best here. It is a little bit blocky. It doesn't look exactly like a circle, but it's honestly the best I'm going to be able to get. And now for the mermaid or whatever this thing is meant to represent. I honestly just had no idea what to do, so I grabbed a Wonder Woman minifigure and I found the widest torso I could find. I just slapped her head and hair on top of that and I put it inside. And not to cheap out, I put some, white bricks inside of the green circle to, give it some color. And I even, went out of my way to write Starbucks coffee on the logo. So hopefully that made up for this logo turning out pretty trash. I'll be modest here, I'll only give myself a 6 out of 10, and it's only that high purely just because I ended up actually making something that someone could potentially say is a Starbucks logo, but that might just be because I literally wrote Starbucks on the logo. Anyway, we made Nike, we made Apple, we made McDonald's, we made Google, and we made Starbucks logos, all entirely built out of Lego. Let me know which one of these was your favorite and what logos I should build next. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and I'll always see you in the next one. Brick out.